It's the And Terry Show once again. Jim still missing from the chair in the corner of the Hobbit Hole studio. Still waiting for you, my friend. Do take care, be safe with your surgery, good luck on everything, and we'll continue on without you for a few more podcasts. This morning I was thinking of crooning, you know, like the old Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra crowd. Back in the days of singing songs like, I'm dreaming of a, Bing Crosby kind of thing. So I reached out to my good friend, Ray Brooks, for this one.
Strike while the iron is hot. Strike. Give it all you got. Don't get caught with your pants around your knees. Strike while the iron is hot. Fix your target, take your shot. Bad things always seem to happen in threes. Now take your punches on your chin. One who dares is the one who'll win. Soon you'll find that comfortable slot. That comfortable place where you always feel like you're gonna win.
Yeah, tickle those ivories, Ray.
Strike while the iron is hot. Focus, now don't lose the plot. Choose the promises you want to keep. Shake the tree, rattle the cage. Strut your stuff across the stage. To hell with looking before you leave. Now shake your fist at the universe. Swear like hell, cuss and curse. Tell them this is it, ready or not. Then strike while the iron is hot. Never mind the who, the where, when or what. Just give it all you got. 'Cause the T's have a cross and the I's have a dot. And strike while the iron is hot. Ooh, while the iron is hot.
Strike while the iron is hot. What's your take on inspiration or creativity? Should you be available for that moment when the impulse can be a good thing. And when that impulse strikes you, strike while the iron is hot. Have you got a space set up for seizing that moment of inspiration? Have you got a recording space available if you're into music, or if you're into art? Do you have a visual space set up where you've got your pencils, markers, acrylic paints, or whatever else you've used for your media? Have you got that set aside ready that you can run to a room, close the door, turn on a light, and go to it? Sketch to your heart's content. Draw, create, glue, paste, cut and paste. Whatever it is that's part of your creative process, do you have the ability to strike while the iron is hot? And if you do you ever get feedback that tells you, wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad you took the time. I'm so glad that you closeted yourself away. I'm so glad that whatever it is, do you get feedback that encourages you and makes you feel like, well, it worked, so maybe I should keep at it. Maybe I've got something. Maybe there's a talent here that if I educate myself or practice, I will become better, which is the skill part of inspiration. I wonder what part of this equation you believe for yourself. Inspiration versus perspiration. Inspiration being that part of you that just has an idea that you just got to get out somehow by any means. If you're a musician, usually it's a chord progression or a series of notes in a melody, or it could be the texture of a particular instrument. Or it could be, if you're a writer of words, a wordsmith, it's a turning of a word, a phrase, something. Yeah, Jim and I usually do this thing. where we usually say, oh, that would be a great title for a song. That would be a great title for an album. And I think Jim's brother Bob is often noting phrases that would be a great name for a band. So that's kind of the thing where I would say we got to take the time. Strike while the iron's hot. If you feel it, that's the time to do it. And that's involving the creative process. I'm not sure what other things that may apply to. I'm not sure if it's, for example, in military strategy, I'm not sure that would be a great strategy to strike while the iron is hot. Unless there's, of course, some reason for doing it that is clear to the military analysts. Sometimes you just walk into a firefight that you need not have done. So there's this conflicting thing about striking while the iron is hot. It's impulse, and sometimes that is the creative person's coal in the fire. Or you stick the poker into a coal base at the bottom of a fire, and once you poke the fire, it comes to life. That's great when you've got that impulse to poke the fire and get it going again, strike while the iron is hot. But then again, there's the other side of it, which in psychological terms would be executive functioning areas of your prefrontal cortex. You know, someplace where you can say, I don't need to do that right now. And you delay the satisfaction of running away to your studio, pressing record, or painting the picture, sketching the sketch, because there are other things that you should be doing. Executive functioning and the ability to control impulse. Impulse control seems to go against the creative element that we are craving when we say strike while the iron is hot. Maybe we should take a Jim and Terry Show poll. How many of you creative people tuning in would say it's important to strike while the iron is hot, and that if you wait, you will lose the moment, the spark? So just picture the image I chose for that song with Ray Brooks was of an anvil and a hot iron with the hammer coming down from the blacksmith. Do you strike while the iron is hot? Well, if you're blacksmithing, the only way to work with iron is when it's hot. That's the only time it is flexible, bendable, malleable, soft, and easy to shape. Easier to shape. Blacksmithing was never easy. But there was a moment where you have to strike. Otherwise, the metal is either too brittle, too strong, or you've waited too long and it loses its shape too quickly. So there's a fine line. Strike while the iron is hot. What's the temperature exactly? When exactly and for how long exactly should you strike? So many questions about the creative process. But the ultimate question really for the creative person is, do I or don't I? Wasn't the Nike slogan, just do it? I'm not an anarchist, so I'm not going to say that. I'm not a libertarian either, so I'm not going to say just do it. We all have a voice in our heads that I think is narcissistic, that fuels our ego, that says, it's okay, just do it, just do it. I've watched an animated series, I got to like the characters on it, and one of them, well, it's the thing is called Disenchanted, I think, and the main character is this renegade princess who tries to break all the molds of what a princess is. So the opposite of Disney's Snow White, the opposite of anything Disney is disenchantment. Maybe that's the title of it. You could look it up. I think it's on Disney Plus, maybe. Anyway, I choose for my icons on my, I think it's my, not Netflix. Maybe it's Disney character or Prime. Anyway, I've got Elfo. So do you strike while the iron is hot? Do you run with inspiration? Or is it more mature? The mature musician doesn't need to run with inspiration, and we should be able to capture that moment. Or maybe you're the artist who carries a pocket notepad and a pen. Maybe in this day and age you can talk into your smartphone and hum a few bars, or get a phrase that you can bring out your phone and just note to self, Here's the title. Got to write the rest of the song soon. Get back to this one. It's a great idea. Or do you let stuff be like a broth or a stew on the stovetop, where you have to let it sit and stew in your mind? Jim starts writing. This is sharing a story. Jim, forgive me for using you as an example, but you're not here to defend yourself, so here I go. Jim starts the creative process the moment he gets in his car to drive to the Hobbit Hole studio. And I swear by the time he gets here, which is less than an hour, I think, maybe about an hour, he has written a song, maybe perhaps sketched out in his mind a whole stage production, including dancing chorus girls, the whole bit. He knows where the pit orchestra is, the lights will begin. Dim the lights. Is that the Warner Brothers thing? I forget how that goes. Anyway, Jim's very much in the moment, creating all the time. The wheels never stop for my good friend Jim. Wishing you well, because in a few days, Jim will be having his eyes corrected. And he's trusting the science for that one. And I hope it works out for you, my friend, because sometimes we don't trust the science, and I keep reminding people of that. The flu season, 'tis the season for influenza, and a snotty nose, and a hacking cough. All the good things this season shows us, reminds us that we are mortal, not immortal, that we're here for a short time, not a long time, and that the time we have may be filled with bumps and twists and turns on maybe a rough road, secondary at best, gravel, single track through the wilderness most of the time. Maybe that's a good thing. Be a path finder, not a path follower. Be the one at the front, not the one at the back. Or at least, once in a while, do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. The creative process. Strike while the iron is hot. A message from Ray Brooks and yours truly, capturing that crooner vibe from the Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra season of ba-ba-ba-boom, I'm dreaming of a white. I used to drool over the Rat Pack and their vocals. Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, a whole bunch of them that come to mind. Even Michael Bublé, as our Canadian equivalent of jazz singers. Yeah, I got a fair sense of inspiration from crooners. I hope you do too. Seems like White Christmas or one of the other Bing Crosby ones, Black and White, might be in order to start the season. The Jim and Terry Show, signing off. Bye-bye.